My daughter, stand ready, for I will come unexpectedly. Jesus, you do not want to tell me the hour I am looking forward to with such longing. He responds, my daughter, it is for your own good, and you will learn it, but not now. Keep watch. Oh, Jesus, do with me as you please, she says. I know you are the merciful Savior, and you will not change towards me at the hour of my death. If at this time you are showing me so much special love and are condescending to unite yourself to me, with me in such an intimate way and with such great kindness, I expect even more at the hour of my death. You, my God, cannot change. You are always the same. Heaven can change, as well as everything that is created, but you, Lord, are ever the same and will endure forever. So I come to you. So come as you like, and when you like. Father of infinite mercy, I, your child, wait longingly for your coming. O Jesus, you said in the Holy Gospel, out of your mouth do I judge you. Well, Jesus, I am always speaking of your inconceivable mercy, so I trust that you will judge me according to your unfathomable mercy. A couple of very, very important things are happening here in this passage, in this conversation between St. Faustina and Jesus. First, well, we know St. Faustina suffered horrifically, and at this point was pretty close to the end of her life, suffering tuberculosis. So, you know, she had become, in her spiritual life, a Holocaust, just a total offering for the conversion of sinners. Jesus' favorite prayer, right? So she had offered herself as a complete sacrifice of penance for all of aching mankind according to the will of God. And so she's, you know, kind of saying, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what she's saying. Come on, Jesus, let's get this going. Yeah, I'm ready to go home. And he tells her, my daughter, stand ready, for I will come to you unexpectedly. I will come to you unexpectedly. There was a woman that came here, a beautiful woman that came here. She's passed away probably about 3 years now. She came, what she thought, and her doctors thought was the end of her life. They gave her 3 weeks. And Anne had such faith. This woman would literally go for her cancer treatments and come here right afterwards. Sick as could be, whatever the case, she would come here for prayer. I'll never forget looking into her eyes. And she used to sit right about where you are, Susan. And she would say, the doctors say I only have 3 weeks. I only have 3 weeks. And I remember saying to her, after praying over her, only God knows that time. Only God. I will come unexpectedly, says the Lord. All is according to his will, no matter what we think. Anne continued to come regularly for prayer. She lived an additional 3 years, and she lived them fully. She had a most peaceful death. I remember going to her bedside. I was in Florida at the time, and her family called and said, you know, she's just hanging on. She's hanging on by a thread. She just wants to talk to you. And so they put the phone next to her, and you know, was barely audible. But we ended up coming home, and I remember going to see her and praying with her, and just this peace that came over her. She loved Divine Mercy so much. Her deathbed experience was a living testimony of her faith as it grew over those 3 years especially. Beautiful woman. But I'll never forget that. And it was shortly after that, she died the same day, within hours. That's just one of so many experiences. But I love how St. Faustina calls Jesus out at the end of this passage, right? Well, you said it, and you don't change. Until the end of time, you're going to be the same. And so, here, Jesus, well, Jesus, she says, I'm always speaking about your unfathomable, your inconceivable mercy, so I trust that you will judge me according to your unfathomable mercy. On her deathbed. And that will be the same for every one of us. All those who are proclaiming his mercy. You know, the lady at Joanne Fabrics who framed our beautiful image of St. Faustina didn't know anything about divine mercy. And we, brought her information on divine mercy, and this woman was on fire. She just absolutely loved the picture, the image of St. Faustina. She just fell in love with it. And so, Susan brought her some information about all things divine mercy, and when I went to pick it up, when it was finally finished and went to pick it up, she explained to me the great difficulty that they encountered, a just impossible situation with this frame. Broken, and had people praying in California and Chicago together to get it done in one day. Who does that? You tell me God didn't have his hand. I mean, it was incomprehensible how it was even done in the frame of time that we needed it in, let alone, because they said there's no way we could have it done in those few weeks. And then when she realized what we were hoping to have it for her feast day, finally they, got it done, and it came the day before. It was broken. There was a split right down this beautiful frame, and they had to do it all over again. And so they had a piece of it in California and a piece in Chicago, and there were people that they got praying in California and Chicago, got it there the same night. I mean, Joanne Fabrics, for crying out loud. Who bends over that much to accommodate the will of God? But God's hand was in it. So God, what's California and Chicago to God? You can just see those hands of creation. Boom, boom, done deal. There's also been times of, the times that we've received phone calls to pray for someone who's attempted suicide. Many times. And the attempt failed. And how, I had someone in mind specifically, but there have been a number of times, how, that person was left brain damaged, crippled, and had to go on in such agony and suffering in this, We have to learn how to trust God. We just have to learn that in that time that we meet the cross and those difficulties, whatever it is, anger, the breath from hell, fear that grips us and paralyzes us, when we find ourselves at that horrible time, we have got to come to the place of realizing we have no control. No amount of anxiety, no amount of trying to construe or control or to do is going to work. The only thing that will work is God's control of, California and Chicago. God can do this, and we have to trust that he's in the midst of all of it. And if he says no or not now, then we have to be patient. We have to suffer well. And it's almost, it's amazing how that happens. When we finally come to that point where we realize there's just absolutely nothing I can do about this situation, and we surrender it and lay it at the feet of Jesus. I like to place it in his heart. I learned that from him. Place it in his heart. Because there's this all-consuming fire that never is extinguished. Never extinguished. It just consumes and burns and brings to naught any evil thing. And what pours out of his heart is this liquid gold, this precious blood and water that consistently restores us. And it helps us even as we're going through the most difficult situations. It suspends us, if you will. This grace. And so we always have to ask him for grace. For example, I was very, very angry the other night. I hate texting. If I could just, and I may one day, just back it up, take the phone, whatever, just use it for phone. Get one of those old lady phones with the big numbers that are just making phone calls. I'm good. I am good. I got this stupid text the other day, and it was like late at night. And you know how things happen later at night? How they just kind of like get to you more, right? Yeah. And so I could just feel this anger building inside. It's this horrifically unjust situation, you know, that happens, and it's been going on long term. So that's Satan's domain. He's all over this, right? And we know that anger, that's that breath from hell. That's Satan. You know, when you have all that going on and there's confusion and all this, you know that devil is just like tap dancing so all over everything. And so as this anger was building in me, you know, I was just, you know what I mean? That kind of anger, like your skin is, you just want to, and then you know, this is not merciful. But I don't feel like being merciful. I'm angry. But this is not an advocate of Jesus. This is unjust and it's not fair, and I just want to control everything. And so I started to pray the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. I just prayed the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, praying and paying attention to what I was saying for the sake of him, for the sake of his sorrowful passion. Have mercy. Have mercy on me, this devil that is tempting me to anger, right? Because I just want to get that text phone and just, or whatever, cell phone, and just text my heart away. That's what I wanted to do, right? But I didn't. The grace came. The grace came, and it was just like a waterfall. Like, how stupid. How pitiful. Really? Really? Catherine, do you need to engage in such stupidity? You, an ambassador, and we are all ambassadors. All of us. Everyone who walks to that altar and receives Holy Communion into that confessional and walks out of there into the world, we are ambassadors. People look at us and they call us Christians. They call us those divine mercy people, those servants, right? And so everything we do is noticeable. Most importantly, by God. We can't hide anything from him. He's right in there. And he's ready. Jesus is ready. What is he ready for? Not to condemn, but to heal, to fill with grace, and to raise up. That's what his objective is. That's what he wants. That's what he's saying when he says, trust me. It's like, I'm standing right here. I'm standing right here. I can take care of that anger. I can take care of you. I can give you the grace that makes this shield come over you. The suspension that happens, that you realize you're one of mine. Let it go. Let it go. Trust. Cancer, let it go. Trust. God will walk you through this time, and so many conversions, so many holy occasions come from suffering of all kinds. He can change it if he wants to. If it's for your betterment, in a New York second, he can change it. And if he's not, we have to trust that's for our holiness, that we grow in great strength spiritually, or that we continue to walk down this path to be a living example of Christ. It's just not okay anymore, friends, to go to church on Sunday or whenever, receive Holy Communion, go to confession once in a blue moon, and say, I'm good. And then do all kinds of other things once we leave these doors. It's just not okay. It's a different time in the world. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of sad, bad stuff going on. But in these times, God's grace abounds. And it's right there for the taking. He's waiting. He's waiting to heal, to help, to fill with grace, to help us as we walk through these times. It's meant for this millennium. His mercy is upon us. His mercy endures forever. And there's no restrictions. It's not like you have to be the smartest, prettiest, wealthiest, skinniest, anything. It's for all of his children, because in his eyes, we are beautiful. We are good. We are his likeness and his image. We are his love. And that's all he asks in return. Be faithful. So if we are meeting the cross, if we are having difficulty breaking through in a situation, either God is doing something or it's going to take a little bit more. I would say offer some kind of fast to your prayer. And there's absolutely no way of going through these times or any of the very difficult things that exist in our time today and personally in all of our lives. There's no way we can go through this without having prayer time. And that prayer time may even just be a time of silence. Most importantly, a time of silence. Because we're all busy people. And we can just whip through these prayers and everything and then just go about doing whatever. But if we're not taking this in, if we're not taking Jesus in, if we're not opening the door of our soul and allowing him to come in and listen to him and do what he says, then we're just wasting our time. We're just wasting our time. It ain't going to happen. And what are we saying to him? Here's this gift of life. This is our opportunity to work out by his grace and with him salvation, our salvation. So we could do it well, or we could just wallow in our misery and our angers and our fears and anxieties and bad habits and in bad habits. In bad habits. No good. No good. Ask God for the grace to break bad habits. I don't care if it's the telephone, the iPads, all those gadgets, or too much eating, or too much alcohol, whatever the case may be. Too much gossip. How about too much talk? Sometimes we just talk too much. And we need to just turn that time over to the Lord. We cannot go through these times without having a prayer time. And that just means carving out some time of the day where we just sit quietly, not telling God stuff, not telling God what we want him to do, but telling him, I'm here for you, Lord. Speak to my heart. And he will. He will. You might not hear him in that moment, or in that half hour, or 15 minutes, or that hour. You might not hear him in that time. He's there. You'll walk in it, though. I promise you. You will walk in it. You'll just know, even in hardship, you'll just know that his presence is with you. No one walks away from Jesus Christ without receiving healing. No one. He knows what needs healing. So I ask God to bless us, especially when we come up to that temptation of fear, anger, anxiety, despairing, hopelessness. Those are all like massive, if you just saw this great big duffel bag over here, and it had all this kind of artillery of Satan, if you were privileged to see what's inside his big duffel bag there. Yeah, he'd pull out that big ugly thing, that monsterish thing of fear that as soon as you take one look at it, you're paralyzed, you can't work, you can't do anything, you can't move, you can't even get out of bed. You're frozen. Yeah, fear and anger. Oh, when we're angry, right? When we are angry, it's like, we become people that makes Halloween look pale, right? And all that stuff in there, all that, that's all his domain, right? And for Christ, oh Christ, it's so beautiful. Christ is a light. Christ is a light so bright and so beautiful that a split second is life-altering, life-changing. Beautiful. Beautiful doesn't even scratch the surface of Christ's beauty and his holiness. It's amazing. And we're his. We're all his. And so we have to be good people, and we have to be honorable. We have to be with him. Because anyone who's not with him is against him. We pray for God to bless all of us. Fill us with his grace, all the graces that we need as we walk through this pilgrimage of life, being honorable, being faithful to him, being loving and merciful and kind. And we ask him to bless our family members, especially those that are stuck in habits or addictions and brokenness and divisions. Those that don't know God or that are away from him or don't even believe anymore. We ask God to fill them with some circumstance or have them meet some people in their life that would be ambassadors for Christ, that his will unfold in our family's life. May God bless all of us and our families. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.